Hey, welcome to another episode of Shop Talk, where today we're going to give you the top reasons why you want to learn about Ride Command. So, when you hear the terms Ride Command, what does that actually mean? Well, the reality here at Polaris is when we say Ride Command, we're talking about an entire ecosystem. So that includes the 7-inch display that you might have in your vehicle. Think of the apps on your phone, the web interface that you can go to, and even our latest offering with Ride Command Plus to give cellular connectivity to vehicles. All right, so the first thing we need to talk about on Ride Command is all about GPS and mapping. And the question we get from a lot of people is, where does that GPS signal come from? Well, obviously there's satellites in the sky. That's the easy part. But on the machine, what do these antennas actually look like? Well, on this Razor XP, we popped off the hood, we popped off a couple screws, and this is actually the box that it's labeled HF antenna for high frequency. And this is actually the GPS and the vehicle-to-vehicle group ride antenna built into one on this rig. Whereas other models, like the Turbo R that you see over here, actually has a GPS antenna right here. And again, this side faces the sky, so this puck is for your GPS. And then hiding under this side, you'll see another kind of hockey puck looking device. That's actually what's being used for that vehicle-to-vehicle group ride functionality. All right, so now that we're in the vehicle, let's check out what this GPS screen actually looks like. So we got this thing tuned up, keyed on, and one of the first things I want to show you is, everybody knows how to pair a Bluetooth, your phone to a Bluetooth device. That's easy. The one I want to show you actually is on these, which is this Bluetooth tethering on this Android device, or the personal hotspot with this maximize compatibility turned on your iOS. These things allow you to pipe internet connectivity from your display up to the cloud. And that's going to enable a couple features that we'll get into here quick. So when you get in here, some things you can do, you can push the screen and pan around. So that's just like your phone. You can pinch to zoom. Most people are used to doing that. You've also got zoom controls here on the side, zoom in, zoom out. If you got a group ride going, you can zoom to a group or zoom to a leader. If you tap down at the bottom right here, that'll actually, tap down at the right will zoom you back to right where you are, so center your position on the map. We've got north up and course up navigation, so some people like to watch the map rotate, some like to always have north locked up. As we go in here, your current ride, this is going to track where you are, so this is going to basically breadcrumb your trail as you go. So it makes it pretty easy to be able to find your way back. Gives you some info on distance, time, elevation change, that sort of thing. Add waypoint, this is one way to do it. If you tap the button, it'll drop a waypoint right where you are. Tap the pencil, you can modify the name of it if you need to, so you can make it whatever you want. In this case, we'll delete it so it's not showing up. The other way to add a waypoint is if you just hold down anywhere on the map, it'll drop a waypoint right where your finger is. So kind of the same way, you can go in and modify as needed. The other thing you can do is actually go into the settings menu. And if you go down to vehicle, let me back this up. So if you go down to vehicle and then this steering wheel shortcut button, you can actually set up a short press and a long press of this Polaris star on the steering wheel. So right now we've got a short press to toggle through screens, and I've got drop a waypoint as a long press. So if I go back into the map, I'm going to short press the button on the steering wheel. You're going to see it toggle through. And now I'm going to long press the button on the steering wheel, and it'll actually drop a waypoint. So I don't have to take my hands off the steering wheel while I'm driving around on the trail. I can drop waypoints when there's cool things, come back and rename them later, which is pretty nice. Let's see, continuing on here, group ride we'll talk about in a separate section. Map layers, this is nice. So your current track and trails, along with all the color coding for the various trail colors that you'll see is on this legend. And then if you want, you can turn on satellite map. So I've already got the phone paired up with Bluetooth tethering turned on. And you can see now I get that full satellite view, which is pretty awesome. And if I turn that one off, just so you can see what land info looks like, this will actually show, borders of ownership of people's properties. But you can, roll in, and we got a couple cairns here not too far away. So some neat stuff there on map layers. But again, these two require your phone to be paired up in Bluetooth and have that Bluetooth tethering turned on. The last one that's cool to show here is on map gauges. In this case, you can put something on the left and the right, and you can toggle between you can select between these different items with the left and right arrows. So I tend to like to be able to see my fuel level a little bigger, so I'm going to drop that in, tap on the right, and then in this case, I'm going to drop in RPM, so you see attack. Hit the green button at the top and then hit the done button, and then you'll see that those stay on the map. Even when I'm moving things around, you can see they kind of go to the background. But then once the zooming things go away, they'll pop back up and be front and center as you're actually driving around. All right, so the other cool thing that a lot of people don't realize you can do is actually all about route planning. So if you pull up the Ride Command app on your phone or go to ridecommand.polaris.com on your computer, you can actually draw your track out or draw the route that you want to take out, save that to your account, and then on your display here, we're actually going to go and log into our account by trying to sync up here. And you'll have to give me just a minute to get this typed in. So we logged into our account through the display here. Next thing we want to do is tap the button or drag down from the top, go to all settings. And then if you go down to general, first one at the top here is account. And there's this option that says sync to account. Once we turn that on, you can see it pulled down 2 routes that we have saved in the cloud that were planned earlier today. And the cool thing is if we go back to the GPS and map screen and we go to rides and places, we can actually go down and find these 2 routes. And if you tap on one like this volcano to campground, you know, even though it's 1,300 miles away from where we are, you can actually see that whole route is pulled up here in purple. So you can get that synced right into your display. It's pretty awesome. All right, so when you tap in the bottom on the map, you'll see you got a button for group ride here. This is actually going to bring up a whole area like this that's showing all the groups you're in. In this case, I'm going to go into my profile. You know, I've got my name, I can add my phone number and pick my color. And then I can actually create a new group by tapping on this button, type in the group and tap on create group. That'll make it show up. In this case, I'm already there. I can toggle that group on and off. I can leave the group, but pretty simple way, you know, on this vehicle here. The other neat thing is if I tap at the top right, you can see the group name and it's me and then the other vehicle that's in our group. I can actually say, hey, I'm going to follow that Razor XP. So if I tap this top button, it'll actually show how far I am away from them and how fast they're going. So along with the heading that they're currently moving or their location versus mine. So we're going to walk over to the other vehicle here. And I'm going to basically do the same thing on this one now, where I'm going to go into group ride. In this case, I got a profile set up called Razor XP, and since this is a red machine, it's red. And I'm going to scroll down. Since we got a phone connected to this one, you'll see a whole bunch of you know, different groups in here, but you see Pat's group down at the bottom. And we're going to tap that one to join that group. And the cool thing is now it says we got 2 riders 12 feet apart from one another. And when we close that down, you'll actually see that both of these riders are available now in that group, which is really awesome. The other cool thing that a lot of people don't know is you can actually send messages to people in your group. So, you know, you can send them a note that says, you know, hey, I'm stopping for a photo. Once I send that, it'll actually pop up on the other vehicle automatically, and you can send kind of short amount of things back and forth, which is a really cool deal. The other awesome thing about this group ride technology is that you can actually wait for that guy in front of you to go clear out a couple miles, get yourself out of the dust, and instead of following where you can see their taillights, you just let them go a mile or 2 ahead, and then you can tail right behind them. And even if you've got, like, you know, say 6-8 machines in your group, that information will actually piggyback from vehicle to vehicle so that the range gets extended by how far away any 2 of those units are. So even if you're spread out, you know, with 10 vehicles over 20 miles and each one's 2 miles apart, you know, when you send that message, it'll relay between all those vehicles tip to tail. So it's some really sweet, you know, sub-gigahertz frequency that we use to do that. So it's not actually cell-based. These 2 machines are literally transmitting information from one vehicle to the other. Since we're paired up on a cell phone on both of them as well, we could actually have other friends that get their, you know, group ride on their phone. They could actually join this group as well, and we could see them on the map too. Now they'd have to stop, pull out their phone to be able to see us, but you know, if you got any buddies that haven't upgraded the latest machine yet, that's another option to make sure they're aware of. All right, next up, when you're thinking cool things you can check out and do on your 7-inch Ride Command display, it's all about gauges, dynamics, and audio here. So first thing, push this gauges button on the bottom left corner of the gate on the display. And this will actually toggle through the different ones that you have set up, including the Dynamics Active Suspension, which we've done a whole shop talk about, so we won't touch too much on that. But obviously you can see steering, you can see braking, you can see throttle, you know, and if we change these different modes, you'll see all those shocks adjusting as we go. But cool stuff on the gauge screen here is that if you hit this little settings icon on the bottom right, this will actually pop up and you can add different configurations. So I'm gonna add a new one, go down to that. Instead of having 4, you know, circular dials, I'm gonna go with 5 different data dials here. And if I tap over on data, I can change what's showing up. So maybe I don't want compass, maybe I don't want engine hours, but you know, I like temp, I like trip meter, I like seeing my fuel level, maybe my ambient temp. And when I hit done, now that screen is actually gonna show up. So I see everything I got on the left. You know, I can flip flop and toggle different data on the right. But just remember, this little settings icon down in the bottom right corner allows you to configure these gauges just the way you want them. So that's all about gauges. We covered quick on dynamics. Again, we've got a full episode all about Dynamics DV that'll take you through all that. And then when you think about audio, this is the next area that you've got, you know, plenty of options for, right? On many units, we've got factory audio. These razors are built in with our partner Rockford Fosgate. Cool thing, you've got different sources. So we've got FM, AM, weather band. You know, you can hook up a USB stick or connect with Bluetooth. The cool thing is if you want to make an FM station, you just hold it down. That'll lock it into your favorites. You know, as you're seeking through, you can find the next one here. And we'll just make sure we don't have too much sound coming out. But if you hold that down, that'll bring on the next one. You can also use the play and pause button on your steering wheel as a mute button. So if the audio is coming through, you can just tap on that. It'll mute the audio so you don't have to worry about holding the down button all the way down. So just remember, play pause is also mute when you're listening to FM. So cool stuff there. But overall, factory audio, super easy to use through the head unit. Once you pair up your phone, tap on the source, you can go to Bluetooth. You can play all your music right through your Ride Command display. All right, so one of the other cool things that we've got built in on most of the vehicles that come equipped with a Ride Command display are built-in reverse cameras. So I'm gonna shift into reverse. You'll see my cord hanging out of the wall on the shop bench here. But the other neat thing that you see here is that if you have an accessory front camera, or some models come with it built in, if you tap the top arrow here, it'll actually show what's in front of your vehicle. Now the neat part is the front camera is really good for like slow speed, think rock crawling, loading in a trailer, that type of stuff. So good for, you know, speeds kind of less than 10 miles an hour. The rear camera is actually kind of nice. You know, if you got a machine that's outfitted like that Razor XP with a spare tire on the back rack, and it's not so easy to see through it, the cool thing is even if you're not in reverse, and say you're looking at your gauges, you can actually, you know, tap the star button on the top or the hard button down here, tap on cameras, and you can actually drive around with the rear view camera up on your screen and use it almost like a rear view mirror. So as long as people are riding with their lights on, makes it really easy to see people that are behind you, even if you're kicking up some dust off your rear tires. We get a lot of questions from people wondering about the longevity. Can it withstand the elements? You know, is this thing rated for the off-road environment? The answer is unequivocally yes. We use the same displays that you guys get on production vehicles, going through thousands and thousands of miles of testing across all of our different ATVs and side-by-sides to make sure they're ready to go when you get them. So we've actually stripped some of the plastic off the dash on this one so you can see the backside of what this looks like. So on the back of this 7-inch display, you'll see 3 connections on the top. These are the 3 for antennas. Those are fully sealed both on this side and the devices they go into. And then we've got 2 bigger connectors and 1 smaller one. So the smaller one here on the right side, that's for the USB port. These other 2 are all about power, ground, signal wires, and all of the audio equipment going out to speakers and amps and that kind of thing. So a lot of cool functionality, but again, fully sealed. This thing can handle the elements. You know, if you got to wash the front of it, you know, just don't get your pressure washer right up to the face of it, right? Keep that a ways back. But overall, this thing is fully sealed. It's rated for the environment that it's in, and it's ready to last a long time. The other question we get from people is, how do I update this thing? And the key is to go to ridecommand.polaris.com, scroll to the bottom of the page, click on a couple links, and download the software update. You can either grab just the display software update, or you can update your maps as well. But I want to show you at least one of those. So we're going to swing the door open on this rig. And on this one, if we open the passenger or the driver's side glove box here, you'll see there's a little dust cap to pull off. You take your USB stick, plug it in there, and then pretty simply put on the display, you go into the settings menu. So you can either scroll down from the top or hit this Polaris star button, go to all settings, down to vehicle here. sorry, I lied. Go down to general, we got to back up here. Scroll down, and where you see this one that says update software, you tap on that guy, and then it will tell you if you have multiple files, these .swu files. This one's the newest. Click on the install button once, twice, and then give it a minute. It'll roll through the software, and it'll automatically restart that display so you're ready to go with all the latest and greatest updates. All right, so there's one more thing we got to hit on this top list of cool Ride Command features, and the last one is all about Ride Command Plus. So when you add this cool little box onto a vehicle, which comes on some model year 23s and more model year 24s, also available as an accessory for some of the newer rigs, it's going to enable some cool stuff in your phone that you don't otherwise get through a cell connection from your vehicle up to the cloud. So we've connected up to a vehicle. It's actually on a ride right now out west. And we've got a lot of cool features that you can see on this Expedition. So you can actually go in and we can see vehicle health. So we can see this thing's full of gas. These guys are probably on a lunch break, but the battery's charged up. You know, they got a few hundred miles on it. You know, ambient temp's pretty nice. It's a hell of a day for a ride right here. We can also go into a map and we can see the current ride, right? So where it was started, you know, kind of all the areas they've gone, where you're at right now. And the cool thing here is that you can actually see the current time without having to start this up. This is going to happen automatically when you've got that Ride Command Plus system enabled on your vehicle. Again, when you go into rides, it automatically started tracking here. So when we go in, we see exactly where they are. And you can even get some details, right? Tells you they've gone up and down 3,400 feet, all the way up to 12,000. I mean, this is a heck of a ride through the Rocky Mountains here going on. And then one other neat thing, if you go down to more and go up to group ride, you can actually change from broadcasting from your phone over to the vehicle. And we joined it up with Pat's group, the same one we used earlier in this episode. So when we walk back to the machine, we should be able to actually zoom to group and see this Expedition out in Colorado. All right, so we jump back in our Turbo R, and we actually turned on this group for this other vehicle. And you can see here that the Expedition North Star Blue now shows up as being 800 miles away. And if you look, we can actually zoom to the group. It'll zoom our map way out, and if we wind ourselves over here to Colorado, we'll see the last place that unit was actually driving. So pretty cool technology here with this Ride Command Plus. I think, you know, overall, certainly an enhancement that we haven't seen in the past that a lot of people aren't aware of. So make sure you check that out if you got a vehicle that's equipped, or if you've gone out and got that as an accessory. All right, there's one more cool feature that we forgot to talk about on this Ride Command Plus system, and that's all about location alerts. So we actually installed one on this machine right behind me, and we wheeled the machine back and forth to trip a bump alert. And in this case, you can see the notification popped up on our tablet here that Dune Shredder, our rig with the paddles, has been bumped. So when we open this up, we're going to see big red warnings on here. Notice that we can actually see exactly where this vehicle is located. If it was moving real time, like somebody was towing it on a trailer, we'd be able to watch that while we phone into the authorities that somebody is maybe moving our vehicle that shouldn't be. So we've covered off on a ton of things today. We started out with GPS, we jumped into the group ride, talked all about the gauges and how to configure those, went into some of the audio and dynamic screens, talked about all the durability things that we've done, and wrapped it up with Ride Command Plus. That's it for this episode of Shop Talk. Be sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you want to see next time.